when you're in couples therapy and therapy, that it's like there's big
little-
wins
yeah,
and there's
yeah.
little wins.
What I really think is impressive is when the young people talk about proactive couples
Thank you.
therapy.
Thank you.
I
Thank
just
you.
thought that's
Thank
just so
you.
mature.
Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
like
Thank
that's
you.
just
Carmen and I,
impressive.
you got
My
that's-
goodness.
that's Carmen and I.
We weren't thinking about couples therapy until the ship was sinking.
Well,
10 years of marriage.
that's right.
811 crew, and we are back. Sluggerific, what's good?
Everything's good. We're back. We're back, having a good time. Our new studio, everything looks great.
Right? It's a nice new set,
Yeah.
nice little change,
I like-
whatever. I
Sydney,
like it.
thank you.
Woohoo!
Thank you,
Yeah.
Carmen. Thank you, Mo.
Right, we got a great team.
It's fun. Yeah, we do
Keep
have,
us
we do
looking
have a good
straight.
team. Yeah, they do. We're both dressed up today.
I know,
We
right?
both have on shirt. Usually it's just me in the jacket.
Yeah, you're the one that's dressed, and I try to stay a little casual and stay on DC. But
Oh yeah,
you know
sorry.
what?
Yeah.
well,
Oh yeah, you
exactly.
have a DC shirt on. Yeah,
You know,
I like the
you know,
jacket.
dress up. Thank you very much. It's a new season, so
Yeah, it's nice spring.
clean
Yeah.
up a little bit. Plus, I got tired of you just always, just out fashioning me.
And Jason, I don't know when I've seen you looking like Flyboy. I'm looking at the socks and the little thing. I'm like, okay.
And Ulysses is the one you always have the sock game, but I got a little,
Yeah, I
just
like
a
the sock.
little
Yeah, the sock is
something,
nice. Yeah, I
no
noticed
patterns
it.
and words, whatever, but a little,
Yeah, I know.
just
Basic
a
is
little
nice.
something to
It matches the jacket.
etc.
It's nice. It's nice.
But
It's
you
cool.
have to change
I like
things
your
up a
shoes.
little bit, and that goes to a lot of what we're going to talk about today. Is about
Oh,
change.
change.
How have we changed overall, etc. How have we changed from our 20s and 30s when you were younger to
I'm still in my
obviously being
30s.
grown ass men now in our
I'm
50s?
38.
Yes, but you've changed. You
I've
didn't have
changed.
that. You didn't have that gray spot
No,
in
I
your
didn't.
beard
Yeah,
back in the day.
That came when
so
I was
that's
35.
changed.
I've had that for 3 years. From
Yeah.
35 to 38. That's my story.
Wow. All right. So you in dog years then, apparently, because I
I said
don't know.
dog years? Damn.
So-
See, this is why we
no,
can't
you're
ride.
still looking good though.
That's
bro.
why we can't rise as people.
Come on, man. We're doing good. We're doing good. But change is also big as well too. In my household, my daughter is graduating from high school.
Yeah.
And I think
Catherine.
I told you and the audience before that my daughter is finishing high school down in Honduras.
Doris. Yeah, that was a
Malcolm Rice
change.
in the Foreign Service. Yeah, so she's going down there. So my mom and I, my son, his
Mm-hmm.
girlfriend are going down to Honduras for graduation. So yeah, so she hit me up like, Dad, this is my last day of high school.
Wow, that's
I'm
wild.
like, well, damn.
Wow, I remember- yeah.
She's 18 now.
I remember when y'all had Catherine.
Right.
I remember literally, it was like, wow, it's been 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a change.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
change
definitely
is definitely afoot. Any big changes going on with you on your end?
What's going on? Well, I gained my weight back, so I don't have a bobblehead anymore.
Okay.
That was a major thing.
So you okay?
That was
See,
a major thing. I had lost like 40 pounds. So now-
40. Had you lost 40?
You had lost 40
I
pounds?
lost 40
40
pounds.
pounds.
And y'all didn't even say anything. Y'all didn't say I looked ridiculous.
I didn't notice that.
No, because
Wait, how
Sydney
much
was
have you gained
Sydney
back?
was focused on my head and being bald. She was focused on my losing my hair
Thank God,
follicles.
thank God for
Let's
my
get back to you.
thank God for my mother, because she kept saying, she's like, you look crazy. Like my mother literally would say that. You're like, what? You're like,
Wait, but how much have you gained back?
like 30 of it.
Wow. Okay.
I can tell my clothes. So what happened?
So what happened is you started eating.
Yeah. I started eating. I make sure I eat 3 meals a day. And 3 meals a day. I stopped exercising. That was another thing. Because I had to gain the weight back. So if you can't do both. You can't exercise and try to gain weight. And the other thing is gaining weight, people don't feel sorry for you. No one does. No one feels sorry for you.
Okay. Well, I
Literally no
mean,
one.
because you still look slender. I mean, like, it's not like there's any big discern. I mean,
my
I'm sure
pants are like
someone,
I can, like these
anybody,
pants.
someone who sees you naked, maybe they see the
Oh, yeah.
difference.
If I had gained 30 pounds, I would not look the same. You look the same. Not
My
yeah.
face. I gained
Yeah.
like in my face.
You don't look like Al Sharpton. You don't look like
No,
Trevor
no.
Howell, You know,
That's-
what I mean,
I am
no
a noob.
neck.
I'm not gonna
and-
look crazy.
Like
I'm not gonna look crazy.
No.
That's not gonna happen. But I had to make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
I had to change I had to make sure I ate. I had to make sure I went to the grocery store to get food. I would cook fast. Because sometimes my mind didn't feel like cooking, so I was like, let me buy, TV dinners, stir fry things I could make. For breakfast, I went back to my smoothies. So it was things I had like that. I was at work, so I hate eating out a lot. So I made sure I brought food I could, have at work. I would make meals at night, bring that for whatever I had for dinner. I would
you
bring for
created
lunch.
different
Yeah.
trigger different things that would make you
eat. Yeah. So then, some nights I made sure if I didn't feel like cooking, I at least would have like popcorn or eat something. Like, let me make sure I'm full before I go to bed. So, and,
were you conscious of the change? Like, when
yeah.
you were losing weight, were you conscious of the fact that you were losing weight?
No.
And then when all of a sudden, when you started getting it back, were you conscious of the change that you made in order to start gaining the weight back?
I was conscious of gaining the weight back. I was not conscious that I was losing the weight because I didn't even realize I was losing the weight until my mother and a couple of my chapter brothers in Cleveland, in Cincinnati, and in Cleveland actually saw me. They were like, "Hey,"
as if there's a big difference between them
Say
two.
Cincinnati, Cleveland.
I'm sorry.
Bama,
Keep on
Ohio,
telling-
and Bama,
Right,
Ohio.
Bama 5A and Bama 5B. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you
sorry.
know what?
He acted like that was a
When-
big difference.
when
I'm
20
sorry, we digress.
When 2024
This is a big
comes,
change
and they're-
between Cincinnati
when
and
2024
Cleveland. Huh?
comes and they're sitting there waiting to see the votes that come in for Ohio,
Okay,
I'll be like,
no.
nope, they don't matter. They're just
Nothing
saying,
changed.
Oh, we didn't say it didn't
no,
matter.
no, no,
We
no,
just
no,
said
no, no,
Bama.
no.
Right.
But all right, we're gonna get rid of Cleveland and Cincinnati. That means we're gonna get rid of the Isley brothers, Laverne.
Listen,
we're gonna get rid of Halle
don't
Berry.
be so don't be so sensitive, okay?
mean,
Just accept it and move
Cleveland
on.
is hot. Cleveland rocks. Drew Carey.
I mean, you don't have to defend it for us,
Did
man.
he
Not-
just say Drew Carey as
I don't
the,
know, but
as,
as
the, as,
far
the-
as-
as,
Show.
the- as
You-
like
you
that
can-
makes Cleveland rock?
Right,
Drew
Right,
Carey.
you can save your breath. As
Cleveland.
far as I'm concerned, nothing has
Hot
changed in
Cleveland.
my mind relative to Ohio.
I was very,
But,
anyway,
it's all good.
we're gonna go back. Let's just stay on topic. So we're talking about change. I gotta change you guys' mind.
When we come back, we're going to talk a lot more about change. We're going to find out if change is something that's kind of forced upon us, or can we just go to sleep on a Tuesday, wake up on a Wednesday, and be like, baby, I'm changed.
I think it's categories of change.
We're going to get
I think it's
into it.
categories.
811 Crew will chop it up, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back.
811 Crew, we are back from breaking, and we are ready to talk about changing. Change making, change agents. Who's changing and who's not?
It's what,
It's a
Changing
few
Faces.
change-based songs.
There's a song. What's that group? Changing Faces. Yeah,
Right.
Changing Faces.
There you go.
I can lick you up and no, I can lick you. What's that song?
That's
Oh,
not
oh,
Changing
oh,
Faces.
That's not,
I don't think
that's
that's,
not change.
that's changing
that's
something
Silk.
else.
That's Silk. Lick you up and down.
You know what?
We're gonna take that part out.
Ulysses talks about everything he knows except
was
what he
changing-
doesn't know about. This is
Changing
what
Faces,
happens
they
when
say,
he's talking about
what's that
singing.
song? Yeah, I can't
and-
sing.
And that is when things fall apart. Yes.
We-
Change. Are you changing into a singer?
No, that we're not happening.
Exactly. I fundamentally believe that change is possible. When I think of a major change I made, I made a serious, discernible change when I was trying to save my marriage.
Okay.
And I think what was so desperate about the change that I made was I made the change after fully realizing that my former wife was done. And I did not believe really that she was done. Of course, now in retrospect, I know that
I
she
think she's
was
done.
done.
Yeah, I think she's done. Yeah,
But
go ahead and say she's done.
At the time, and this is what I was saying, at the time, I felt like, oh my God, like my household is going down. I've got to make some changes. And, I didn't want to be like cliche. I didn't want to like write a letter and say, oh, these are all the things that I'm going to change. But instead, I literally wrote a list in my little book of like 10 things that I could change. And if I changed these 10 things, that sister was going to have a problem in her mind of like, oh my God, it's changed, whatever. Wait a minute now. I changed. It was 3 things that straight away made a difference. Number 1, this girl hated cleaning the kitchen after doing dishes.
Okay.
Number 2, she hated any kind of trash in the kitchen, taking out the trash. And number 3, she hated clothes on the floor.
Oh, you were done.
Now, okay,
everything
so
you have said has to do with messiness.
exactly, and you
Can he
you might
change?
recall from
Can he
season
change
1 that I
his
said that I'm
messiness?
not neat.
Not at all.
Okay, but that said, I made a change over 8 months. I became a neat freak. I never had a sock or anything on the ground. I washed the dishes every night, took the trash out every night, and it just pissed her off even more. she divorced me even faster. She was absolutely. She was like,
Why
wait a
didn't
minute.
we do this earlier?
Exactly.
Why do you have
You
to do
think
it when
you
I
could
threaten
change?
you?
I was like, wait a minute though, babe. I'm trying to show you that change is possible. I could change. I changed.
What happened
But then I changed, and she was like,
I'm a change too.
it was like what Sydney said. She was like, so basically, all this time, you could have changed, and you just didn't
But
do
those aren't even-
anything.
But those aren't even major. I mean, it's a major
No,
change.
see,
But what
oh
I'm saying is that
Oh, yes, they can
See,
be.
it was that. It's the
she was
little
leaving-
things. Then
she was leaving regardless.
It-
If
you know.
it was, I hate to
and
say
she
it.
did leave.
Yeah,
And the
if-
fact is, she did leave. But I made enough of a change over 8 months that it shook her to the core. Things that she thought would never be possible for me to do, I did, and I also proved something to myself at the same time. What about you? I'm talking about a major change.
a
You all
major
know
change.
I'm not neat, so
In the-
cleaning the kitchen, taking out trash, and keeping my socks and underwear off the floor every night is a major change. What you
But
got?
that he did not keep.
He
We
didn't
know.
keep either.
But
So,
I have made it improvement. I got the iRobot. That's another story.
the iRobot does not
The
get up your
iRobot
underwear.
is a major
It
thing.
does not
but
pick the underwear up and
Technology
put
can do it, baby. Like, talk about yourself.
I guess with me, when I was married, she never did. We would have all these things laid out, and I would be doing my part, and then I'd look over like, wait a minute, like you're not doing anything. So I would become infuriated. So then I'm like, you know what? These are things I said are good things for me to learn anyway, but it has to be. Both people have to want to do it.
But you know what though? It's
Like-
but real talk. It's hard when someone asks you to change. You know what I mean? Like if someone asks you to change, like because you could almost feel a bit of resentment if you really feel like a mug is fundamentally coming at you and telling you to really change some foundational
Well,
stuff.
if you don't agree with what they're saying, is
I-
that
If I'm
Or maybe it's that deep, like, or it's low key. You completely agree.
Well, if I'm in, if I'm in a friendship, if I'm in a, romantic relationship, if I'm even at work, so if I value this person's opinion or what they think we should do, I will make, or if I'm offending them, I will make the, effort to change or do what they're asking. We have a poll. We did a poll about
That's right.
this. So
That's right. What do people think?
what the people think. So we have Carmen, and Carmen, who always has her ear to the street. Carmen did our poll. So and our poll was, can you show an old dog? Can an old dog change? Can he make new tricks? Does he do new tricks? Well,
what's that saying?
Does he
again?
do new tricks?
tricks.
Uh-oh.
Can he or
Oh,
she?
boy.
Yeah,
Can
okay.
you teach
Can
a
he
dog
teach
to
it?
do
Oh,
tricks?
right,
They
right.
teach
Or
you
can he
tricks.
do
Right,
new
sit,
tricks?
Ubu, sit. Good dog. Can you
You
teach
know-
a dog to stop pissing on the old tree?
Yeah, but
What if
people
it's
should,
bilingual?
You should learn new things. You should learn.
Carmen, talking about this poll. Wait,
Let's do the poll, yeah.
just pause
The-
just
the-
for a second.
Yeah, can they change?
Well, we asked the streets,
Okay.
and the streets gave us the answers. Yes,
Yeah.
it is possible. 60%.
Absolutely.
40% said no. It
I
is
really
not.
what? See, I think
Did
that
he go-
40% is
did he
some
go by-
jaded
did he
mugs.
go-
I
did
don't
he go-
know.
That's a large percentage to say absolutely not. You
It
can't teach an
is.
old dog
Yeah.
to trick.
40% said no, you
I
cannot.
actually,
I don't think that's right.
I actually believe it wholeheartedly.
That you can or you can't.
Cannot.
Wow.
Especially, I seriously, people, especially after a certain age, if you don't want to fundamentally make the change, you're not going to.
You're saying so like we said, without proper incentive.
They're not
You
gonna
mean
make it- they're
without
not-
if they're so let me ask you this. If you're in a relationship, we're talking about relationships in this time in this show, and someone were to give you an ultimatum or something and say, hey, Ulysses, this or I'm out. Or like we said, even a health thing where someone said, change your eating style, whatever, or diabetes or something like that. You
Right.
could change then, yes?
But that's an
Or you
individual.
saying, no, you're going to
I
keep on eating them
can't-
Doritos,
I
like
think-
whatever.
I think I can, but I don't think the majority of the people. If you ever look when people who diagnosed with diabetes, you see them, oh, my doctor told me I can eat cake on Saturdays. The doctor didn't say that. The doctor's never said that. No doctor said you can eat cake on Saturdays.
Yeah, but we're talking about the ability to change.
But that's a change.
So
You have to
you're saying
change.
that you're going to keep eating cake.
No, I'm not saying, but I think I would, but it's an individual thing. If you look at their personality, if you look at someone and you've known them, they're 45, 50 years old and they haven't changed, same hairstyle, they've worked at the same, you can see certain people are never changing.
I
It's-
disagree.
Yeah.
Only because sometimes people are not upfront with you. So at
That's a
over
change.
at over 40, if somebody has said something to me and nobody ever really enlightened me about myself in that way. And so with somebody being upfront and honest, it made me take a look at myself. And so I work on changing that because I didn't see that part of me until somebody opened my eyes to it.
Now let me ask a question: is that a generational thing, like Carmen? So we talked about change. Now we're in our. Now wait a minute. Now it could be a difference. Now we're in our 50s. Okay, Sydney, you're in your. Carmen, you're in.
What was he trying to say? Like I'm over
I'm
50?
not.
I'm in my third. Wait,
I forgot. I didn't know what joint you was in.
I'm in
I
my
figure
30s.
everybody need to speak for themselves.
Jason,
But you, I
I'm
know.
38.
But Carmen, I
38.
know you
There's
in
a
your
few extra years
30s,
of-
and I'm trying to understand.
Carmen
Do you
and I are the
believe
same
change
age.
is possible?
Please believe
I
Carmen
need
and I
to
are the
have a
same
little
age.
more optimistic outcome.
Carmen's a
'cause,
year older than I am.
Ulysses making me feel like a rainy day over here. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Talk to us.
I will say that change is possible. I think so. I think my generation has realized the one thing you have to do is like you have to change.
You're getting
Like
fired.
you have to change. You have to change who you are
change your social
overall.
media.
Right, they're like, oh, we got fired.
No, you don't change that. You just create a completely different one. I have so many
Change your
social media.
avatar.
You have
Change
no
your
idea who I am.
Right.
Wow.
I'm liking stuff. You're like, who is this? It's
Right.
me under a different person.
In the metaverse.
Yeah, because you gotta protect.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah. But yes, change is definitely, yeah, it's possible.
I-
you
it's
just
the-
have to like, it's not like a small decision that it's like a massive decision. You're like, okay, I'm going to wake up early and then I'm going to read a book and then I'm going to stretch and then I'm going to meditate.
See, I think change is not massive. I think it's small little things. Like I'm going to wake a little bit earlier, and then that means I'm going to be
That's-
able to do this.
That's
and then
how
do
you do
this.
it. That's
Yeah,
how to do
but
it.
I think that's that's the like a massive, even if you do it like 4 days out of the week, that's a massive change. You're waking up 15 minutes earlier just so you can stretch or meditate.
It does.
I think that's a massive thing. And the only reason why I say that is because when you're in couples therapy and therapy, that it's like there's big
little-
wins
yeah,
and there's
yeah.
little wins. And what you think is a little itty bitty win is actually a really big win because 5 years from now, you're not going to have to worry about it.
What I really think is impressive is when the young people talk about proactive couples therapy.
Thank
You know, I
Thank
just
you.
thought that's
Thank
just so
you.
mature.
Thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
like
Thank you.
that's just
Carmen and I,
impressive.
you gotta
My
be like,
goodness.
see, that's Carmen.
We weren't thinking about couples therapy until the ship was sinking.
Well,
10 years of marriage.
that's true, right? You're like,
And now
that's
it's
true.
going down.
But you know-
and now we gotta get some therapy.
Therapy.
It was like on the way out the door.
Oh, yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
by the way, let's stop at the counselor's office.
Counselor. is-
Y'all right. These mugs disagreed on what movie to go to.
Sure,
They were like,
counselor.
Are we watching Yellowstone tonight? Man, we need therapy.
But during their generation, Sydney and Jason's generation, therapy was.
Got it. We're here.
Yeah, we're here. Therapy's with us. In their generation, people look down on therapy, so it wasn't. Why are we laughing?
I don't know. Why are you laughing? Why it's nothing
Right, it's not about therapy.
funny
it's
about
just-
that at all.
right.
And one thing that I really respect that you've talked about as well, we all talked about this, is going and having conversations with a third party, going to therapy, having a therapist. That takes tremendous courage, and that there is evidence of change. When you go see someone, when you reach out to someone, anyone, your friends, your family, your therapist, whatever, to me, that is seeking change, don't you think?
I actually got a new therapist.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a new, and nothing was wrong with my old one. He's actually a great guy. We're still
Okay.
friends. It's just that, so I had to make a change. This one was available more and everything. So, I made a change, and that's a huge change to go from, because you have to start all over from the beginning, tell them everything. You got to tell your story again.
Is this a group therapy or
no,
one-on-one?
no. This is one-on-one. I actually
Okay.
don't like group.
That's a huge change.
Yeah, because you have to
actually.
say everything. Because group is too much.
Yeah.
Group therapy is too much. I mean, it's cool. I'm not knocking it, but after a while, it just became too much because you start getting upset with other people's problems. You're crying. I'm like, I don't even know this person.
You're like, I want to cry about my own problems.
Like, literally, I would be crying. I'm like, we haven't even got to me yet. So I'm like, literally. So, but
But here's the one thing: the only thing constant in life is change.
change.
That's right.
So the more you are willing to accept change on the external, and then change on the internal, then you'll be happy.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nothing stays the same.
Nothing stays the same.
Nothing. I mean, even with driving through the city, I mean, I can think when I moved here, this was here, nope. You know, and as I enter into my late 30s, almost 40s, places I used to go, I can't go there anymore. Even
Now I'm going to tell you what though, this change piece has been big, and there are a lot of places where we've said that change can happen. Sometimes change can happen, but in our next conversations coming up, we're going to be talking about changes in dating.
oh yeah,
So
changing
you
the-
see
yeah.
how interesting that is? Like when we were talking about change, when
Oh,
I
yeah,
was thinking
yeah.
about changing myself, that seemed like, man, that seems a lot. But when I talk about changes in
changing
dating,
dating,
now I
completely.
see all types of
Oh,
ways where
completely,
things change.
completely.
So when we're going to talk about that, we're going to take a break now.
Okay.
But when we get back, we're going to talk about what we're going to be talking about in the future of dating and
my
see where
my
changes
dating.
can happen. Now, I got a lot of changes, I
Oh,
think.
I was completely shallow.
811 crew will be
I was completely
changing when we
shallow.
get right back.
Is it harder to change now that you experienced like life, or is it easier because you have experienced life to
Easier.
change?
For me,
Oh, yeah,
I think
easier,
it's
man.
easier. You know, yeah, it's easier because you feel like, well, maybe I was stuck in my ways for this or something I didn't. So, especially like in relationships, because I had such a bad one, I make sure I'm like, okay, let me, you know, focus on this change this person's asking me to do, or make, even I do my own self. I look at myself like, well, I said this, let me go back. Like I've done that. Like I've said things to my girlfriend, like, and I replayed it in my head, and I'm like, this is not how I meant that to come out, or let me go back and say how I actually meant it, because sometimes I can be very direct and strong.
Blunt. Mm-hmm.
Blunt. Did you say blunt?
Yeah, blunt. Because I've been told I'm
Direct.
very blunt.
And
I'm like,
and
really? He can be direct and blunt.
And I didn't mean it, and actually, I'm actually trying not. That's actually one of the changes. I'm trying not to be. So I'm really.
Really?
so
Well,
I
let
guess
me
I'm-
know.
I guess it's not working.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not working.
Maybe report back after the new therapist.
Okay,
Work on
so-
that with the new guy.
Therapist.
Okay, like
So it's not working.
To also answer your question, I think for me, it's easier to change as you're older. One, because there's some things you're like, yeah, I'm old enough, I'm not even going to change that. But you have enough experience and you've seen enough in
Yes.
your past to know what
Yeah.
the outcome could be if you don't change.
Yes.
And my other thing is, what's the definition of insanity? Trying to do the same thing over and over and
Over and
expect a
over,
different outcome. So if I'm looking at a situation and it's not working and I'm not willing to change, then it's going to keep not working unless I pick myself up, go sit over here and look at it from a different angle. I'm changed. I've changed my angle. And so I'm looking at it. So that
Different,
means
yeah.
I'm acting differently because I've moved myself.
But don't you think also in answering your question and to your point, when we're younger, when I'm gonna speak for myself, when I was younger, I definitely felt like you're searching. Searching. So you're searching, right? You're searching for stuff, but I feel like as you get older, you're not searching as much. You feel like I'm still
You don't care.
searching, but I have enough road behind me that I feel like I know what I'm looking for. Like you said, the insanity that we've all gone through with, I see that same tree and I'm like, haven't I seen that same tree before? And no, I think that's a new tree. Haven't I seen that same tree before? So I think after a certain amount of times, you keep making the same mistakes, and you, like you said, you don't want to be insane, and you realize, man, let me turn right here instead of always turning left.
I do think in relationships, though, and I hate to say this, I do think the male will try to change more than the female will in a relationship,
Wow.
because usually most times women are coming to men about changing. If we come to
You mean they're asking us to change something?
Yes, they're usually asking us to change. Very rarely, when we do ask women to change, that's a huge argument.
So
Okay, can I say why?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a huge argument.
Because women are more detailed and focused on things, and you all are a lot more kind of general. So we are looking at like the specifics of something when you're like, huh, what?
That is definitely me.
Well,
You have
the-
described me. I don't know if she
Yeah.
described you, but you nailed me totally. But I mean well.
Yeah. It's
You know,
not,
like-
yeah.
I'm more tuned in. So when if a woman comes to me about changing, I'm like, okay, I'll do this. I'll make the change. But when you say something to a woman about changing, their first thing is to be defensive. But in actuality, most time men don't really ask for a lot of changes. The few things we ask for, so when we do say something, women should kind of look like, wait a minute, he's never really asked me about anything. We never asked you to change your hair. We never asked you to change your clothes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really
We don't
think
do
that
that.
I'm gonna let the women. I want the
We
women to
don't.
talk about this, but I think maybe you talking about yourself
No,
as a
I'm talking in general.
Twinsburg native.
No, if you,
Because I
no,
promise you, there's many. I just don't think. I mean, correct
Think-
me if I'm wrong,
think
but
of
I
your
just do
friend.
not think that there's a. I mean, I'm not in the bathroom with your girlfriend when you're like, baby, I wish you would just.
No, but think about.
I wish you
I'm
would
talking
cut
about-
that hair out your nose.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about
I
in
wish you
general. I'm talking
changed that belly button ring. It's been there for 3
sometimes,
years.
well, I think it's a little different now. So it's like sometimes it's how you say things and
See,
your
that's the other thing. You have to
and
say
your
it
tone.
too. Right.
So what I've realized is when my boyfriend says something to me, I said, I need you to explain the thought process behind the sentence you just gave me,
Right.
and then that'll probably make me not go crazy. And then once he tells
Right.
me the thought process,
You are so mature.
No,
I mean, I'm
I'm
gonna tell
like,
you
oh,
what.
okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what.
Because I need to know. Because you just like he was like, you gonna go out the house with your hair like that? I was like, first off,
Right.
Wow.
is it ugly? What's the problem? Because
I need you to walk me through your thought process. of
I
your
need you
hair.
to walk me through the thought.
But that's a good way of saying
But it
But
is because I look at you. My thought process was I looked at you and I didn't like your hair, so I said something.
Right.
So that would help her know.
But I'll give
And
an
then,
example.
like, what part of it did
My
you
thought
like?
process was I wanted to snatch you back up.
So I will tell you, in my previous life when I was married to the devil, I kind of got to the point. I was like, okay, the devil had gained about 100 pounds. So I was like, when do I say something? When we get to the second seat thing, we have to get
Not
you know,
the not the
When she wanted,
picture.
we have
when it's
to
time for
extend
woman
her.
on, when it's time for woman on top.
Like, no.
Where do you go
What
with
you
that?
say is what I said. What I said the other
So
day. I was like,
you're
let's get on the floor and do some sit-ups,
Yeah.
shall we?
So
Come on
you have
with me.
so you have to pick how you say that. You can't be like, hey, you can't wear any of the clothes that are in that closet anymore. Those are things. So you have to realize Ulysses' mind is normally to say something like that. So I had to sit here and
But as you're changing
But
and
I-
trying
I
not to
had
be
change
as
it.
blunt.
Yeah. So this,
Now how do you
I've
say
been
it?
trying this blunt thing's been going on for years. So it didn't just start. So I actually started when I was married. Like, okay, so let me just say, hey, we should go to the gym. Like, I got this gym memberships. Nope. But you would. So I would try to say things like, hey, let's do this together. Let's go here, and so let's say she had something about me. I don't like. What would she say? Because she wasn't a conversationalist, so I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
She
One day
wasn't.
we're gonna have to get into right.
Oh, she's a horrible
Right. She
person.
had some good attributes at some point.
but
she
changed.
changed.
She was. She changed.
She changed.
That's a
Did
change.
she change or did she just remove the veil?
Okay, call it. She took the veil and ripped that mother off and threw it out the window. That veil is with the Challenger space shuttle. It's with Elon Musk. It's gone. I mean, she changed her looks, everything. She used to look like
Oh yeah,
Lisa-
something she was like, got him.
Oh, completely. She used
One
to
of those
look.
switch up.
If, one of the things that I've tried to, if I can say that, if we wrap this up too, that I've really changed on is the notion of, I don't think as much now that love is going to strike me like out of the blue, like lightning, like a silver bullet, fantasy level of love.
that's not happening.
My perspective now has changed to I choose to love someone.
Yeah.
I think of it as, I think of love and relationships with much more intentionality now. I think after being married for 15 years, divorced for 11 years, I've come away realizing that, it's on me. That,
Yeah.
if this
So
thing
me.
is going to be successful, if we're going to maintain that communication, if we're going to stay in love, then it starts with choosing to love someone.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about this in season 1. We're going to delve more into it about things we've learned and things how
you like,
we've
yeah.
grown into the 50s. It's going to be interesting.
Would you date the same? Basically, would you date the same woman you dated in your 20s? Would you date that same person in your 50s?
I would
That's a
do
change.
more. I'm sorry, what?
More what?
More positivity.
Was that the word you gonna say? Okay,
I didn't say
alrighty.
positions.
I was like,
You know what? This
I
is
don't-
starting to get.
so-
I tell you that, Should I just say 811 crew, we're out?
811 after dark.
Let's go, pick your feet up though. Let's go, pick your feet up though.